place that we never expected to visit.
Lac La Biche.
Honest, I didn't even know that it existed, but now that we've been exploring deeper into Alberta, we have quickly realized that it's small places like this that are really worth seeing. Not only because they're home to beautiful landscapes, but also you kind of get a more authentic experience.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited to explore the town and the region over the next few days. So Lac La Biche obviously is the name of the town, but it's also the name of the massive lake that's behind us right now, which is only about 2 hours northeast of Edmonton. And it's also a French word for Lake of the Deer and a historical voyageur route that linked the Athabasca region with the Hudson Bay.
So we actually arrived last night and we're staying at the Parkland Motel. But today we're gonna do our first activity. And hopefully the weather cooperates because it's quite chilly, it's gloomy. The geese are starting to fly south.
I don't blame, but hopefully it warms up over the next few days.
Our first stop of the day is the Lac La Biche Canadian Native Friendship Center, where you can actually buy very cool indigenous products from water bottles, purses, handcrafted soaps. But the best part is that part of your purchase goes to support the youth center. It was a hard choice because there's so many cool things, but I guess I'm gonna go with my favorite soap, the Cedar and Balsam, and this cute necklace.
It was time for lunch, so we came to one of the newest places in the region, Fat Unicorn Brewing. Always awesome to have your lunch at a brewery because then you can try a bunch of craft beer. So, I'm not usually into dark beer, but they really recommended this one. And according to the menu, it is pretty strong at 75 IBU. It's like, he described it as a Guinness on steroids, so there you go. But we have some blondes as well as an amber and some brown ales to try. But I'm equally excited for lunch because we're told to have the Siberian dumplings. You can never go wrong with boneless wings, but definitely the Siberian dumplings are the best part. Almost like a pierogi, but with like a giant piece of sausage on the inside. Really good. We just finished a tour inside some of the buildings here at Lac La Biche Mission Historical Site, which is both a National Historic Site and a provincial resource. It's actually one of the oldest communities in Alberta, as it was established in 1853. But where we are, this was all built around 1893 and actually served as a residential school for 5 years before becoming a boarding school. The big difference between the two is the residential school, of course, was for First Nation children and they were forced to come here, whereas the boarding school was all voluntarily done. It was a good tour. It's always interesting to see what everything looked like back in the day. We got to see the old dormitories, the kitchen, the dining room, the old classroom, and even the chapel.
Another one of the main buildings here on site is the church, which this one was the second one built in 1923, as the first one got destroyed by a tornado in 1921. As we mentioned in the beginning of this video, one of the reasons why we love visiting smaller towns throughout Canada and Alberta is because we really like to learn about the history of these places and also listening to all those different stories. So right now we're in Plamondon, which is one of the smaller communities that are part of Lac La Biche region.
And this town was actually founded by French pioneers that came from Michigan and Quebec back in around 1908. The Métis were already here, but I guess the Alberta government wanted to settle the land. So they were offering huge plots of 160 acres for $10. Not a bad deal when now you can't even eat a meal at McDonald's, I don't think, for $10.
Amazing deal. And we learned about that at the District Museum, which was the first stop here in Plamondon. And it was such a cool visit because they have different artifacts donated by the pioneer families of Plamondon, and it's just cool to see all those old artifacts, learn about the history, and they actually have a very cool wall with pictures of those pioneer families.
Yeah, it's a small museum, but it's well worth the visit. And then like right around the corner you can go into the old church. Well, now it's the Chapelle or Chapel, because it was the church back in 1911, and then when they got a new one, that one became the Chapelle. So now they've made it really, really nice on the inside, and you can just visit or rent it out for weddings and other events. And then another cool place in town is the Mini Parc Heritage Park.
And we actually have a very cool story because we met the granddaughter of the man who led all the people
like who the town is named after.
Yeah, so his name was Joseph Plamondon, and he's known as Le Père Jos, which translates to the Father Jos.
And she's actually the one that gave us the tour, and they're the one who came up with the idea. It's pretty cool. Basically, all the original buildings that they grew up with, or like the first home, the first school, shops of the town that are no longer here, they've built like mini replicas of them. And they're about 1/5 the size. They're super well done.
What a cute little place!
So definitely if you're in the area, you should stop by.
I feel like a giant in here.
I'm Donna Fletchuk. I'm the Museum Director of the Museum of Aboriginal Peoples Art and Artifact here at Portage College in Lac La Biche. The museum was established in 1978 and is one of the only places in Canada where you'll see works of prominent Indigenous artists from coast to coast to coast. The collection really showcases the foundationist artists in various different genres of Indigenous art, from decorative arts to fine arts, and also is the only place anywhere in the world where you'll find a permanent exhibit of the professional Native Indian artists group.
We're in the process of doing hide tanning right now. We do a traditional woodland Cree style hide tanning that was taught to me by a Métis elder in the community. And in this style of hide tanning, we use traditional tools as well as contemporary tools. And there's 13 steps in total. And the whole process to end up with a complete hide is up to 3 weeks.
This is pretty much the final product, and it's so soft and it smells so good. We just finished our tour here at Portage College, and oh my god, we got so impressed about the tour. We enjoyed it so much. Not only you see beautiful indigenous artwork, but also it's so interesting to learn about the meaning behind these pieces of art, as well as the story of how this art gallery got started and how indigenous artwork got recognized as Canadian fine arts.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible tour. I definitely highly recommend coming. Like, not only is, like she said, is it interesting to learn about the stories even of the artists themselves, but also to witness some of the beauty of the culture and traditions of the Indigenous people, and of course some of the atrocities that have happened to them in Canada. So I definitely would recommend stopping by here. You can either do a self-guided tour, they have like explanations throughout, or you can do a guided tour, which we highly recommend.
It's only when you get to places like this that you learn about so many interesting facts. So yesterday we were having lunch at a Russian-owned restaurant, since there's a big Russian community here in the region. And today we're having lunch at a Lebanese-owned restaurant. So we just learned that in 1905, the first Lebanese family came to the region, but it wasn't until the 1940s that the biggest Lebanese immigration came to Alberta, turning this place into one of the biggest population per capita in the province. So we're not just ready to try some Lebanese food, and also bubble tea, because we've heard that they have very awesome bubble tea here.
Well, that was pretty good. We're definitely not going to be able to eat it all. They really stuffed us, but we always left room for dessert, of course. So I feel like we've already learned so much about the Lac La Biche region, but now we're going to learn even more at the Lac La Biche Museum and Information Center. Probably a good place to come when you first arrive. If you've watched some of our other videos from Alberta, you've probably heard of David Thompson. He's a pretty important name around here, probably one of the greatest explorers the country's ever known, and it turns out he was also the first recorded European in the Lac La Biche region.
Canada is known for its multiculturalism, and there's an exhibit about it here at the museum. And here you can see how many nationalities are just in Lac La Biche. And over here, there's an explanation about Mexican Canadians like me.
One of the most important industries in Canada in general in the past, as well as in the Lac La Biche region, was fur trading. So there's a section of the museum dedicated to that. And here is a bale. So it says that they carried up to 2 of these. They weigh 40 kilograms each, or 90 pounds. So 2 of them weighs more than me. And I'm sure it's heavy, but this is your chance. There you go. Let's go along.
1, 2, 3. No, it is heavy, man.
This is why we love visiting museums so much. It's such a great way to learn about the region you're exploring. And in this case, we're learning about women in the fur trade and Métis people. So that's something, as you explore the history of Canada, you're definitely going to come across. So this is telling us how it ended up happening, how the indigenous women ended up marrying European fur traders. In this region, it was French European fur traders. And of course, you know, their offspring especially weren't like recognized as indigenous or Europeans, so it actually became recognized as their own social and racial category called the Métis.
As you can see, we changed into warmer clothes because we're gonna be spending the next couple of days doing outdoor activities.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm wearing a toque considering it's still technically the summer months here, but right now we're actually at Sir Winston Churchill Provincial Park. It's really beautiful here. I can't imagine how nice it would be during the real summer when it's warmer outside, but we actually came here because we were meeting up with a lady from the Birding Society to hopefully see some birds.
But we didn't see any because the weather is not cooperating. However, she mentioned that between March and June, you can see up to 220 species of birds.
So I guess we'll have to come back. But right now we're actually gonna go and meet Off-Road Adventures because they're gonna bring us out on Eleanor Lake to do some backcountry camping. Well, we're just on our way outside the park now and we got to see some birds. I think they're just seagulls, so probably not the ones people come to see, but we also saw some ducks and some little birds on the drive, so success. Well, our night just keeps getting better and better. Now we're having a hot beef stew, all organic from a farm nearby. The vegetables, the beef, everything. Even the sourdough bread was baked nearby, and then I'm told our dessert was also made nearby. So.
It's very good. Very, very good.
You ready for bed?
Yes, ready. To be honest, we were kind of afraid that we were gonna have a cold night tonight. But no, this setup is perfect.
Yeah, we have the warm sleeping bags, the fire going, and probably gonna have one of our best sleeps of the trip.
Good morning! We had a great sleep last night. It was super warm in there, and now we're ready to have some organic food breakfast. So we're having organic eggs, even a homemade bread and homemade jam. So I can't wait to try this. And we're just gonna fuel up for our activity for the day.
Well, now we're all geared up and we're getting ready to go on our quadding adventure into Lakeland Provincial Park.
Well, this is pretty adventurous. I'm liking it. Going to the battles in between the trees. However, you gotta be careful because you don't want to crash. I should have gone faster. I was just a little bit nervous because
I guess I have to teach Carla how to drive.
It was so muddy and uneven, so I'm afraid to turn that I'm gonna, you know, like fall or flip.
Fresh moose tracks right here. We just arrived at Dad's Lake, so we're just gonna go for a short canoe ride while they prepare the fire and delicious lunch.
I have my chauffeur here in the paddle, in the canoe.
Where do you want to go?
Let's go to that tree on the left.
What are you making for us?
Smokies. Cheddar cheese.
Yeah?
Smokies, right?
Cheddar and bacon.
Cheddar and bacon.
Sounds delicious.
Here is where I got stuck before, so let's not do it again. I made it! Amazing. The way back is even better because you get more comfortable with the quads.
Going through mud puddles and stuff.
Yeah, look at me. There's proof that I was going through puddles. So much fun. So much fun. I want to do it again.
Well, that was pretty awesome. It looks like we're gonna have to wash our rain jackets, but
yeah, it was pretty amazing. Like, they're such an awesome company to work with, to be honest. Like, everything was super well organized, the food was amazing.
and it's a really awesome thing to do because, like, owning that equipment and maintaining it and knowing where the trails are and how to prepare would be a lot of work unless you're doing it all the time. So definitely a great trip to experience when you're in the Lac La Biche region.
Yeah, a great way to get into adventure, experience the wilderness, and just have an awesome day. I actually thought that this place will serve only pop food, and they have steak in the menu. So I'm super excited because I got some New York steak with shrimp and mashed potatoes, and Matthew got a sirloin with baked potatoes. So we're gonna share, and I'm gonna keep drinking my delicious dessert because it's pretty good.
This is so good. It's actually really good, the steak.
We were supposed to stay in this room last night, but we got back so late from the quadding that when we were gonna get here was gonna be so dark, but it looks so beautiful. The site is so pretty, and it seems that there's so many things that you can do and learn here.
Yeah, it would have been a great visit, but it just means we'll have to come back.
Unfortunately, I couldn't finish my pouch because we're running late for our next activity, but we really hope that we can come back It's such a beautiful place for camping. There are trails all around that you can explore, and John is such a great guy that he can teach you some survival skills as well as some handcrafts, and his dog Bobby is such a cute dog.
Welcome to Métis Crossing. We are the world's first major Métis interpretive site, and what makes us super special is that we are on Métis land. And we are also here to share the Métis story with everyone. Pitukwe, come on in.
Well, that was a great tour we had with Lily Rose. She's actually one of the elders here, so that was a very special tour. Normally there's interpreters at each site explaining it to you, but right now they're not here. But we got to learn about the culture, traditions, and lifestyle of the Métis through the buffalo camp, the harvest camp, and even the homesteads, which we got to go inside. But now we're hungry, so it's time to go have lunch. Well, that was a delicious lunch. We actually had a traditional Métis grub box, which consists of buffalo and trout. We just had the trout this time, as well as Three Sisters medley, I guess you could say, like a salad, which comes from this garden and consists of beans, corn, and squash.
Oh!
There we go.
Oh my God! I didn't kill it. Well, that's a good thing. Let's try with a bigger animal. Okay. Oh, close.
Remember to exhale before you shoot.
Okay. Finally! Try to beat that, Matthew.
Try.
Oh, he did.
Well, we didn't hit the vitals, so this is kind of especially this one is the one that will kill the bear right away. This one's probably a little bit, he'll die, but not as fast, and then we just hurt him, so he's pretty angry right now.
I'm so glad we got to try archery again. It just gets way more fun once you get better at it, but sadly, this is the last activity of this trip.
Yeah, but we've had a great time exploring the Lac La Biche region, even though the first couple days were pretty cold, but that's Alberta for you. Right when we're leaving, the sun's coming out and it's actually quite hot now. But yeah, it never ceases to amaze us, the amount of cool things you find in these smaller regions in Alberta and in Canada in general. So definitely make sure that, you know, you take some time to get out of the big cities and out of the major tourist destinations and into these smaller regions where you really meet the locals and learn something new.
So we hope that this video inspires you to get out and explore. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and of course, to learn more about Canada, visit our website at mustdocanada.com.